Hi everyone. For those of you guys that may not be aware, update 44 is now live on PC. It's a free update that's changed a lot and added a few new things, new companions, etc. If you have ESO Plus, you get access to the new companions for free. Otherwise you have to purchase them with crowns, unfortunately. They are not included with any other DLC or in chapters like previously. The rest of the other things available are free, but the biggest change is to Battlegrounds. And for me, it's not something I'm horribly happy about because I really enjoyed the old Battlegrounds. But anyway, I went into it with an open mind and I tried the solo 4 versus 4 Battlegrounds, which was a deathmatch. So the main difference here is there's no third team and there's different rounds. And they've also added 7 brand new maps for you to try out, which is great because, there's nothing wrong with variety. But they've kept all the same old game modes like Deathmatch and Chaos Ball and Crazy King and Domination. They've also added some really interesting power-ups and things, which is also welcomed. And you have limited amount of lives. So I'm not too sure what happens when you die 3 times. Does that mean you don't respawn? It looks like it probably will be the case. So the biggest problem for me is there's always a huge variety in skill level with people that play Battlegrounds. There's usually those that are very good at it, and there's a lot that are usually very bad. And then the thing with the old mode where there would be 3 teams, it would allow you a better chance of at least having one of the teams matching closer to your team skill or something, so it's not so boring that you just wiping the floor with them and it's just, really boring. It also can change it up because they can work together against your team or change it up a bit, make it interesting. But now where it's just one team against another, if the other team is really struggling, then it just gets really sad and very boring. So I don't know what's the story if the rest of the team just ran out of lives to respawn if you literally only have 3 lives. Because there was just one guy that kept camping at the top and until the game was over. That was really lame. Couldn't even reach him properly. Again, like I said, it was pretty boring. This was my first attempt with the new Battlegrounds. It was a completely different story with the other Battlegrounds mode that I tried, the 8 versus 8. There seemed to be about 3 Chaos Balls that would spawn, and power-ups as well, although I didn't actually see where you pick them up. I don't know, it's just so chaotic. My biggest gripe with the 8 versus 8 was that it was absolute chaos and you couldn't really see what was going on. It makes me think a bit of the chaos you sometimes encounter in Cyrodiil, and I'm not a huge fan of that. You can't really focus on the ball bearer, you can't, it's I guess it's not so bad that there's more ball bearers, but such large teams doesn't make sense to me. It still would have been better if there was more than 2 teams, because again it was chaotic and it wasn't as fun as what it usually is in the old Battlegrounds. But I don't know, what do you guys think about the new modes? Let me know in the comments if you've managed to try them since the new updates. I know that PlayStation and Xbox guys don't have access to this update yet, but yeah, I'm curious how everyone's going to find it. So when people were asking if the 4 versus 4 versus 4 modes were going to be gone forever, if you could ever choose them, the response from the developer was that it would only come back during special occasions, and for the time being you can't actually choose it. You kind of stuck with the 4 versus 4 only, or the 8 versus 8 modes with either group or solo, which is a bit unfortunate for me. Maybe this just needs some getting used to, but I'm going to be focusing more on my PvE content and all that rather, and the Imperial City. Speaking of the Imperial City, they did change it up a little bit as well. So they said they've changed a bit and they've improved how the vaults work, and I did notice at least there was some space in my bank. All my stacks of key fragments went into my currency, so I don't have to store stacks of them in the bank anymore. So that at least is something. And they've changed it so that vault treasure chests now become vendors instead. So that's actually not such a bad change. I think that's definitely for the best. I know everyone's always struggling with inventory space and bank space. It's always a problem. I see the Golden Pursuits isn't yet active, but that should be coming along soon in November. That I'm really looking forward to see what they're actually going to add, because I'm all for something for free, especially if you get it from just playing the game. Also something that encourages people to try other kinds of ways of playing the game. I assume the main reason they're doing it is to encourage people to purchase parts of the game they probably don't own yet or have access to in order to get whatever items or things they're giving away. using FOMO to encourage sales and, player retention and just to keep people invested more than with just this Endeavour story. For those that may be wondering what led to the change with the Battlegrounds. So it seems like they changed the Battlegrounds to appeal to a broader audience of players, not just those that are ultra competitive and want the top tier builds for PvP. So more the type of player that enjoy a more relaxing experience, like what you would find in Cyrodiil, where there's a larger group, and I guess chaos. Maybe some people enjoy the chaos, but for me I don't particularly enjoy it. And maybe having to have others carry you more and not just being alone, especially with this whole story with the 8 versus 8, where I guess if you suck at the Battlegrounds, you could probably hope that the rest of your team doesn't suck and then can help carry you through the game. The matches definitely lack that old familiar adrenaline rush that I get from playing the Battlegrounds, which I really enjoyed. So that's pretty sad for me, and I hope that they will bring back the old mode, not just during special events, and hopefully they can combine 3 different teams with the power-ups and the different maps and all those different things to make it more interesting, but also still keep the competitive feeling that the old Battlegrounds had, because I feel like that's a bit what's missing over here. I'm actually more just annoyed that the choice isn't there anymore to actually play that if you wish to play it. And literally since I've played these 2 matches, I've had no interest or will to go back and play again. Because what's the motivation if you don't get the adrenaline rush from playing the game, actually having a challenge, or, there's no real point. The leaderboard is pretty pointless for me, and it's just really lost the original draw and appeal that it once had. This was my first attempt at playing the new Battlegrounds, and it was a bit underwhelming to say the least. So for those of you guys who've had a chance to try the new Battlegrounds after this new update, did you also find the Battlegrounds more, underwhelming? Were you more on the other side where you were just getting obliterated by the other team and you found it boring because of that reason? Do you actually like these bigger teams where they're 8 versus 8? Or do you just want the old modes back where there were at least 3 different teams? The new maps are great, the new power-ups are great, that's fine, but at least have more teams so there's more variety and smaller teams. That's all I really feel would have been better if they had just added some interest and variety with power-ups and maps and kept it with 3 teams. I was honestly hoping they were actually going to add some completely new modes, not just Crazy King and Domination and the Chaos Ball one or Deathmatch, something else, some other different way of playing. Instead they just took away the teams, so it's not for me, honestly. Again, if you like my video, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel, and I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys again soon. Please let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about the new Battlegrounds. I'm very interested to hear other people's opinions as well, if they're similar or very different to mine.